Okay, let's go into Blender. This is video 5. If you remember, we had just basically finished the cowling for the Glen. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the little rocker arm bumps on this cowling. Control wheel. This airplane had a 9-cylinder engine in it, and like I had stated before, with the cowling, they made the cowling so small that they had to put these little teardrops shapes in the cowling for the rocker arms on the engine. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add an object. We're going to go to mesh. We're going to go to, this time we're going to go to cylinder. And I got it. If I push Z, we will see the cylinder. And then you come over here in the bottom and you come in here. It has 32 verticals as your normal circle. We're going to take this down to 9. We could use 18 actually, but we're going to go to 9. Okay, so we have a 9-point cylinder. We're going to push T, so we get rid of that, and we're going to push. I'm going to push Control, and I'm going to drag the plane a little over this way, blow it up just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to push R for rotate. I'm going to push Y. I want to restrict this to the Y-axis, and I'm going to push 9-0. Turn it sideways. Left click on your mouse. Now push your 3 on your keypad. Okay, let's go to edit mode, and let's push Z. And as you see, that gives us a nice little picture of our cylinder lined up with our cowling. You can see the cowling with the black lines. Now what I want to do is I want to push R to rotate the cylinder, and then I want to push X because we want to constrain it to the center, and we're going to rotate this until that dot on the bottom is on the blue line. Now what we can do is we can push Shift, and we can roll the mouse wheel up until it's centered there a little bit, let off the Shift, and we can blow this up. Now you can push Control and roll it over a little bit, push Shift, pull it down a little bit, and then we can roll the mouse wheel some more, control it over. You can keep working on centering this. As you notice, as we get real big here, that this isn't perfectly centered with the center line, so we can blow it up to like right there. Now we push R again and X, and we can actually bring this vertice on the cylinder right on that black line, which is the center line of the cowling, and we're really blowed up. Left click on your mouse button, back out, and you can shift down a little bit. Okay, now as you notice, each one of these dots, what this does, this is where your cylinders would line up. Now another trick I want to do, okay, let's push 7 again, let's go to the top. Okay, let's put Z. Now I want to push G for grab, and we're going to push X, and then we're going to drag this through this cowling for the moment, right about there. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're not going to actually use this cylinder, we're just using the cylinder for reference. Okay, and the picture, I actually noticed in this picture, we'll go to 7 again, and we're going to push Z, and I'm going to control back a little bit. You notice the lines doesn't really line up with them teardrops, but the picture's just a hair off skew anyway too. But what I had noticed, I've looked at some other pictures of this airplane, the cylinder on this 9-cylinder engine, the bottom of the aircraft has a cylinder that's lined up, it's straight down. So I'm not going to really worry as much about this picture as I am. Okay, let's push A, make that kind of disappear for the moment. And then we're going to go back to object mode. I'm going to push A, which is going to make that disappear. If I actually push Z, it'll show back up, but if I push Z, this will disappear. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll post this picture, we're going to add, and we're going to add, this time, again, we're going to add an empty, and we're going to go to image, click on image, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to click on this, and we're going to click open, and I need to go into pictures. Pictures and documents, and it's saying yeah, right. Okay, so I don't know why this just does not like to go into my picture file. So what I'll do is go in pictures here, and I'll go down and find this engine. I actually have two different engine pictures here, and one of them is actually, if I come down by the E, whoops, I way past it, D, E, E, F. Okay, this is one here, which actually this one would work. So what I want to do is copy this and come to my pictures file, paste. There we go. Now I should be able to come back into Blender and go into desktop, X, and click on this. Okay, now I have a picture of this engine, which is a 9-cylinder engine. Actually, what's kind of funny about this 9-cylinder engine here too is this 9-cylinder engine is scale. This 9-cylinder engine is actually a engine for a remote control aircraft, but it's still a little 9-cylinder engine. I couldn't get an actual picture of the yeah, spit it out, Eldon. I couldn't get an actual picture of the engine that goes in this aircraft. Okay, now we can rotate this on the y-axis 90 degrees. We can hit 3. Okay, and what I want to do now with this is I want to grab it on the y-axis. Okay, until it's pretty centered. Then I want to grab it on the z-axis, and I can put this. Okay, as you notice, again, as I zoom in, I can actually zoom in pretty good. I can grab it on the Y, bring it right about there, and then I can grab it on the Z and bring it right about there, grab it, Y, a little bit over, grab it, Z, up, grab it, Y again, tad to the right. That's probably pretty close. As you zoom in and out, you can keep playing around with centering it and stuff, but that's pretty close to center. Okay, now as you'll notice, I need to, there's a problem. because as I rotate this, it's going to totally mess this up. Let's see. And actually, I think I'm going to grab it on the Y and bring it over. And this, being a picture of an actual engine, might be just a hair offset. Okay, let's try this. Rotate it on the X, and this is not going to work out so great because, but I can remove it. Back it out a little bit. Okay, grab it on the Y, move it over. Okay, now as you notice, the bottom jug kind of looks like it's straight up and down, but it's still, I still need to rotate it on the X. Grab Y. That's a little bit closer. The trick here is basically going to be lining up that bottom cylinder. Grab on the Z. Lining up that bottom cylinder and lining up my prop. Now what's kind of interesting, like I said, I think they took a picture of this engine and it isn't exactly dead straight on, because your circle here seems to be centered now, but the prop nut is not. If you notice, it looks like it's offset. So they probably didn't take a picture of this cylinder dead straight. Now if you look at these two now, and that line dang near seems like it goes between them, but it's kind of hard to tell because of the they're not exactly. That looks pretty close. So I think we'll go with that. Now what we need to do is scale it till it's a little bit bigger. Grab it on the Y. Bring it over this way. And grab it in Z a little bit. Okay, scale it. We want it just about probably like that. Grab it, Z. Grab it, Y. Okay. We're going to scale it just a hair bigger. Okay, and we're going to grab it again. We're going to bring it this way. And we're going to grab it on the Z, and we're going to raise it up a little bit. Now that's just about where I want it. And again, I could either one, gimp this thing, or two, because part of the problem is it looks like they got smoke in this picture too. And it might even be a little bit too big. Let's scale it down just a hair. Okay, grab it on the Y. And grab it on the Z a hair. Okay, this is kind of more or less what the engine would look like in this airplane. It's a 9-cylinder engine. Let's see. Grab it, Z, just a tad. Okay, so that's kind of what that engine would look like. And we could actually grab this on the X, bring it up here, go back to 3. Okay, like I said, I could gimp this, and one of the things I would do in GIMP is I would cut off these exhaust tubes, and I would delete this smoke out of here. But this kind of gives us an idea of where we're going to And then if we push Z, okay, we'll push Z, we select Shift C, and let's select our cylinder, and let's press Z. Okay, now again for reference, as you can see, we kind of have all of these points are almost in this cylinder, but it seems like we need to grab the picture. But the problem with that is anyway, that's pretty close. The other, like I said, the other trick I could have used is I could have used, instead of 9 of these, then I could have actually used on the cylinder, instead of using 9 points, I could have used 18. Or the other thing I can do with this, because I have these lined up more or less with the cylinders now, even though it seems like the cylinders are a hair off, that what I could actually do is since I have the cylinder selected, I can push rotate and X, and then I can actually rotate these points like right here, and that is where, if you notice, that is where these teardrop needs to come. Or what's kind of cool is I can actually put a teardrop over these 2 points, because if you remember, I made the actual cowling has 72 points, which is a division of 9. So what I can do is I can rotate this, rotate the X, and I could actually put this point on that line right there, and then everywhere there's a point on the cylinder, well, that's not working either because of the scale, but pretty much everywhere where there's a point on this scale, there should be a cylinder bubble. So I could also do it that way, since it's kind of giving me a fit. So I can use this as a reference, and then I can figure this out mathematically. So we'll go like this, and then we'll scale this. I'll scale it a little bit bigger. And what I don't like is, because this is dead center, but our cowling's supposed to be dead center, but doing what we did with it, for some reason it's just not dead. This isn't dead center anymore, and we had it dead center. So I should have put the teardrops on this thing, then worried about stretching it around or matching it to the airplane. So if we select this, because this matches, but if you notice, it isn't on our center line anymore, or we rotated it, which I shouldn't have rotated it. Let's see, grab it on the Z, that's kind of weird that it put that dot there, but yet that's not exactly center line no more. But let's take now, one thing you can do here, which is kind of cool, is you can actually right click there and put that little thing there. Then you can grab it on the Z and you can move it up. You can line this center line up with that, and then you can go Shift C back and put that there. Okay, and sometimes this is the challenge to this Z. Okay, let's go 3. Whoopsie. Okay, 3. There we go. We'll come over here. Let's push Z. Okay, Z again. Let's select the cylinder. 3. See, now that looks better. That looks like it's all those lines, all those points are lined up with a line now. So if you're not using the engine, let's go 7. Let's push C. Select none. Let's add an object, mesh, and this time we are going to add you have an icosphere and a UV sphere. We're going to actually add a UV sphere. Okay, which is a lot of this is going to add a lot of vertices. This cowling really is going to put a lot of vertices on the front of this airplane. We're going to draw the body of the airplane a lot simpler, but this cowling being so complex is really adding on the stuff. Okay, we're going to rotate, and we're going to push Y, and then we're going to push 9-0, and then left click, and if you notice this sphere here, we're going to grab it. We're going to grab it X. We're going to bring it out in front here. You notice this sphere, and we're going to push 1. This sphere basically is like a globe, and it has your horizontal lines and it has your verticals, but your verticals all come to poles. Your horizontal is like an equator. Okay, let's go to edit mode. Let's go Z, and this is what we're going to do here. We are going to non-select it here, and then we're going to make a box, and we're going to I messed up. Okay, try it again. Hit the B for a box, hold down the left mouse button. Okay, and I basically selected the half of the vertices here. We're going to push delete vertices, and you notice what I made was a half cut. Push 1 again. Okay, now this is we're going to make a box again, and we're going to grab these, and we're going to grab, push G, and then we're going to push X, and we're going to stretch them out a little bit, and then we're going to push scale, and we're going to scale them down a little bit. But what we did is, you'll notice it also brought the dots up. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab on the Z, we're going to bring that down in a line here, and we're going to click, and then we're going to push A, and we're going to repeat this process. Okay, we're going to push B again, And we're only going to grab these, and we're going to grab on the X. We're going to stretch them out a little bit. About there. Almost the same. And we're going to scale. And we're going to grab on the Z, and we're going to come back down to the red line where the dots are in the red line. We're going to click. Okay, we're going to push Z. We're going to go look from above. Okay. And we're going to go back to 1. Push Z. We're going to click A. Make a box. Grab on the X, stretch it out a little bit, and then we're going to scale it. Okay, and we're going to grab coming down the Z. Whoops, kind of lined up with the red there, and push A. Okay, we're going to look from the top again, 7. Now, what we want to do now is we're going to make a box. Select this whole thing. Now we're going to scale. We're going to push S, and we're going to push Y. And we're going to scale it down kind of about like there. And we're going to push A, and then we're going to make a box again. We're going to come here. We're going to scale on the Y. Now that's kind of distorted. Let's leave that alone. Okay, then we're going to take the whole thing. We're going to go box. We're going to take the whole thing. We're going to scale it down, and then we're going to grab it on the X, and we're going to bring it over. Going to control over, and we're going to scale it down some more. We're going to grab it, X, we're going to bring it over here. And so what we want to do here, control, come up, we want to scale this basically. Scale, that's about the right length. Scale it on the Y some more. Okay. And we're getting a little bit close to what we're wanting here, but we don't. Now what we can do also is we can grab it on the Y, and we can put it over the top of this thing here. You got to remember, we're kind of looking at this at a very slight angle. Okay, so we need to scale it on the X. Okay. Now, if we unselect it and we make a box, and then we scale this on the Y. There we go. And then we unselect that, and then we make a box. Take this line here, scale it on the Y. That's a little bit better. A, and then make another box. Come here, scale this on the Y just a little bit. Okay, push A, and then box. We can take the center a little bit, scale it, Y, bring it in just a hair. Okay, now Z, whoops. Now we need to select this whole thing. Box. Z. I think the problem is we have it inside there, that's the problem. Z again. Okay, which one? Yes, we have it in there. Now, what we can do here is that we can grab it on the Z, we can bring it up here, and shift down. Now again, also what we can do is we can unselect this. We can select this whole thing actually, and we can scale it on the X. Select, and we can let's see, let's make a box in the center line here, scale it on the Z, we can bring that down a little bit, grab it on the Z, bring this down a little bit, and then we can actually make a box, grab this one, scale it on the Z, and we can make a box, grab a Z down. Okay, now like a trick I had showed you guys before, we can actually make a box. We can grab this whole bottom line, but we just want the bottom line, and then we can put let's see, this one's the push control. Whoops. See. And go to object mode and select this, and then Z. Go back to edit mode. Okay. Push B again. Okay, now we can push scale, which is S, then push our Z, and then push 0, and it'll level that line out. Push A, actually left mouse button, now push A. Okay, now what we want to do with this thing now is we're going to box and select it, and we're going to go back to edit mode, object mode. We're going to go 3. Okay, now if you notice, this is where we're going to have some fun. And I think what I'm going to do, push Z, I'm in object mode and I have that selected as an object. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to continue in the next one, because I'm betting I'm on about 20 or 30 minutes, and I really don't want to make these things an hour long. 30-40 minutes, pretty long anyway. But I'm going to stop there, and then when we come back, we're going to line these all up with this cylinder on this cowling, and we're going to finish this cowling up. So join me then. And what I didn't mention in the last video that I want to mention too is we come up here and we click File, and Save As, and I'm still going to save it as the same one. Actually, I could make this a 2 now. Like I said, that way if you mess up, you can come back to this one. So this is Glen 2A. Foofers lay down. Sorry for the chihuahua. Okay, so I hope to see you in the next video.